Okay. Sorry that took a second, everybody. That took way too long, but I was having technical issues. Um, Great to be back, guys. I'm so excited to see you. Welcome back to the channel. Um, yeah, today I need to be kind of quick here because I do have something I'm trying to go do. So I probably, unfortunately, will not have time for those of you who looked at the thumbnail or read the description. Or if you do, I probably will not have time to get to the purple yellow Nico Robin this week, which is nice because I want to spend some time on it, so we might just do that next week. But today, what I want to look at is taking a look at the new leader that we recently revealed for OP17, right? And that is going to be Rocks.D.Xebec, right? So the blue leader that we were kind of waiting for. By the way, let me know, guys, if the music or the mic is too loud. I've been having issues with my sound being really quiet, especially on stream. So I moved my mic closer. I messed with the gain a little bit. You guys let me know if that's too loud. But anyways, with that being said, yeah, so we're going to be taking a look at Rocks.D.Xebec, the new mono blue leader for OP17, right? The 4th anniversary set for One Piece. Coming up here in about a month, actually, very close. And then I want to talk a little bit more about OP17 once we look at all the cards and I give my thoughts on them. And then from there, we'll go ahead and I'll talk a little bit about some leaders that I think are going to be good. And also some ones that I think are just interesting, very rogue and cheap options to watch in the new set and see if they potentially become good. So let me take this off real quick so I can hear myself think. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. But before we do, I do want to really quick do my promos just because it might help, it might not. So for that, right, if you guys are new to the channel, please feel free to walk down right below the video and hit that subscribe button because it helps me in the channel out a ton and it lets me know that you're interested in the content. And while you're down there, you can hit the like button so that I know that you like this video, or excuse me, this stream or videos or streams like it. And then if you hit that notification bell, you'll know anytime that I go live or I post a video or a post, anything like that, right? You will be able to get that notification and check it out. While you're down there, you can also leave a chat right now in the chat while we are live, or a comment on the stream after it's over, or in the comments section of any of my videos or posts, and I'll be sure to get back to you as fast as I can, usually within like one day, if that. I'm pretty quick about it. Yeah, that's about it for all that. So with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and swap over here to Card Kaizoku. Shoutouts to Card D Kaizoku. He's a really great creator and has a lot of resources for the card game. But this is his website here, and this has all of the Rocks.D.Xebec cards revealed. All of, for that matter, the OP17 reveals here. If we reveal more, it should show us the entire set. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and take a look at what we got going here for Rocks.D.Xebec. So originally going into OP17, I wasn't too stoked because it looked like it was just going to be a green meta, right? Shanks, of course, being, I still think, probably the strongest or one of the strongest of the leaders. I don't know why there isn't an image for this one now, but this looks like it's going to be one of the strongest leaders along with Green Mihawk. And then, yeah, I think the other one that people were talking about other than Shanks was like maybe Purple Kaido or Lin Lin. But then we had this absolute bomb drop over the weekend, Rocks.D.Xebec. So this is going to be a slash type leader. Great for people playing Mihawk out there. 5,000 power and 5 life with the Rocks Pirates type. Rocks.D, is it Xebec or Xebec? You guys let me know in the chat or the comments. But I'm going to go with Xebec because I think that's technically how you're supposed to say the X. But Rocks.D.Xebec, he has one effect, which says, when attacking, you can trash a card from your hand, reveal one card from the top of your deck. If it is a Rocks Pirate card, or it includes Rocks Pirates in its types, you get to draw 2 cards. Very simple, but very crazy, right? You trash 1 card, you draw 2. That's +1, guys. So you're drawing 2 cards a turn, and you're seeing 3. Seems pretty good to me. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these cards here so we can see what this deck does, and then we'll get into what I think of the leader personally. So I have seen these cards before, but I'm going to go over them with you guys live just so that we can kind of brainstorm together and you guys can react with me once again. So first we have the 6 cost, 8,000 power Edward Newgate. No counter on this card. On play, you get to draw a card. And then once per turn, when your leader with a type including Rocks Pirates attacks or is attacked, you can trash a card from your hand to activate this effect, your leader gets 3,000 power during that battle, right? Pretty crazy ability, right? 6/8 is an amazing stat line, and because it's a brick, it also gets a positive effect, but they decided to give this one too. So first off, it's going to replace itself in your hand, and second off, it can turn any card in your hand when you're attacking into a 3k buff, or when your opponent's attacking into a 3k counter. Absolutely insane ability here on this Edward Newgate. Really, really strong card here. Next, we have Wang Xi. So this is going to be a 4-cost, 6,000 power blocker with, again, no counter, right? It looks like all the Rocks cards here have no counter on the side of them, so they're all going to have really strong stat lines, power and cost-wise. But anyways, 4/6 blocker. On play, you can trash a card to place all of your opponent's characters with a base cost of 1 at the bottom of the owner's deck in any order. I'm not a huge fan of this card, guys, even though it's a 4/6 blocker, because you have to trash a card and then you just kill NL stuff. Seems kind of mid in my opinion, but I guess it's there, and it has Rocks Pirates type, so worst case you're revealing it or trashing it to draw 2 with your leader. So next we have the 4-cost, 6,000 power Kaido. So this is Rocks Pirates with, again, no counter blocker, and on play you can reveal 3 cards with a type including Rocks Pirates from your hand. Give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 3k power for the turn. Right, so this is going to be a very strong board clearing effect here for only 4 cost. Really, really good, especially considering that you're going to be attacking with your leader every turn. And this has no cost on it other than revealing 3 rocks, which, spoiler alert, we're probably going to be playing all of the Rocks Pirates with this guy, right? So that you can always be drawing those 2. I just lost my spot, so we'll go back down. There we go. Really, really strong. This is an amazing 4-cost blocker for the deck, guys. Just being able to give something minus 3k. Minus 3k is a big deal, right? Like, Nusjuro was one of the craziest cards in OP13 because it gave a minus 2 every turn on something, and that card was able to just clear boards. So I don't see why a minus 3 would be any worse. Next, we have a 5-cost 7k character that's going to be Ganzui. So he also has Rocks Pirates. I think pretty much all these will. If this character would be removed from the field, you can trash 2 cards from your hand instead, so keeps himself around in a 5/7 bodies, nothing to scoff at. And then on play, of course, your leader's base power becomes 6 until the end of your opponent's next end phase. So again, with all of these cards being bricks, it looks like you're really going to need to find defensive options like this Edward Newgate, like this Ganzui here to make you a 6k leader, and like these blockers. So really, really strong being a 6k leader, right? We've seen that in the past being a very good effect. So if we keep on keeping on here, that is a pretty great ability. We have Captain John next. So this is another 4-cost 6k character, not a blocker this time. If your leader's type includes Rocks Pirates and this character is rested, your opponent cannot attack any card other than the character Captain John. So kind of like a Green Kid effect a little bit, where he's just kind of magnetizing all of your opponent's attacks to him. And then activate main, you can rest him, so making him the target of the attacks now, to draw 1 card and trash 1 card. So he lets you filter. He's a 4-cost 6k body that draws in attacks, which effectively makes you a 6k leader for that swing. It seems alright. They're probably just going to clear this the second they swing at it, because this early in the game, I don't think you really would have many ways to counter for too much. So I don't know how useful this will be, maybe as a 2 of, but again, you're probably playing 50 Rocks Pirates cards, so I don't see why this wouldn't make it into the deck at a few copies. I can see Wang Xi not making it in, especially if NL's not going to be that good, but I don't know. Captain John, I feel, has some play. Next, we have a 2-cost here. We have Kyo. Let me scroll up a little bit. So he's a 2-cost 4k character, so pretty big stat line for 2. If one of your characters would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, you can trash 2 from your hand instead, and then on play draw a card. So this right here is pretty nice, guys. No Gravity Blade Raging Tigers over here. None of that. Get that out of here. No other removal events, right? We're just going to trash 2 cards to keep them around, which we should have a couple cards in hand thanks to this leader effect, right? Very, very strong, and it's only a 2-cost. And worst case, you're playing it out and drawing a card, right? And then you have a 2-cost 4k, you can put a Dawn on and chump into people. Seems good. Seems really good to me. And I mean, worst case, it's a Rocks Pirate that you reveal to draw 2. Next, we have this card. I think this did actually get leaked a few days before the stream where Rocks got revealed, but 4-cost 1,000 power Gloriosa. She's an Amazon Lily and Rocks Pirate, so for all of you Boa lovers out there, this could potentially go in the deck as a searchable. It's a blocker with no counter, and on play you can put a character with a cost of 5 or less at the bottom of the owner's deck. That's pretty good. 4 costs, get rid of a 5 cost to the bottom, not to the trash, to the bottom. And yeah, I mean, after that, it's just going to be a chump blocker. Seems pretty good. This card, specifically, I guess I should know, other than Edward Newgate, it looks like, none of these are really locked to Rocks Pirates, right? I mean, sure, Kaido requires you to play a bunch of Rocks Pirates, so maybe he's not useful, but the rest of these actually are all generic, right? So this base 6 is on any leader. This Captain John does require you to be Rocks Pirates. This one right here doesn't. I mean, this is just anything, actually. This is just generic protection for anything. Gloriosa is also generic, so this could potentially go in something like Blue, Black, Sakazuki, right? Where you're already, minusing power and bottom decking stuff could potentially be played in there. We'll see. Next, we have a 9-cost, 10,000 power Shiki. What is this image? But this is going to be a Film Impel Down in Golden Lion Pirates. Okay, so this is not for Rocks, but end of your turn, if you have 2 or less in hand, you get to make your opponent place a card from their hand at the bottom of their deck. This is probably just for like Blue Ivankov or maybe Green Blue Luffy, but I don't think you would ever play this. So, yeah, with no counter, I think this is just a filler card. But this Shiki, on the other hand, now this Shiki is, this is a Rocks Pirate. 7 cost, 9,000 power body. Now we're choking. No counter, of course, but we have rush character, so you slap it down, start swinging into your opponent's face. Seems good to me. When attacking and on your opponent's attack, once per turn, you can trash 1 card with a type including Rocks Pirates from your hand. Give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 3k power for the turn. So, basically, we're 4 cost 6k Kaido, but instead of revealing 3, you just trash 1 to do the same thing. Also, it's a 9k rush character body for only 7. Also, this is on your opponent's attack as well, so unless they're stacking with their leader, you can use this to get another 3k counter per turn. Now, if you have Edward Newgate and this guy, that means you can potentially get 6k counter for 2 cards. Kind of wild, guys. Granted, it is once per turn, but still, a 6k counter is pretty crazy. And these bodies are obviously huge. Next, we have probably one of my favorite cards that I've seen out of these reveals, and one of my favorite design cards potentially ever, especially for blue. 5 cost, 7,000 power, Charlotte Linlin is going to be your Rocks Pirate 5-drop. So, Charlotte Linlin says, on play, your opponent has to choose 1. Either you get to draw 2 cards, or they trash 2 cards from their hand. So either way, you're going up in tempo by 1, because you play her out for -1, and then you either draw 2, so go up 1, or your opponent goes down 2, so you technically go up 1 because they lost 2, right? So very, very strong effect there. 5/7 that does that, guys, seems really, really good. But that's not it. On your opponent's attack once per turn, you can trash any card from your hand, and up to one of your leader or characters gets plus 1k power for the battle. So this is a free 1k counter in the Rocks deck, which is nice because we have, what is this, like 8 bricks already in that deck. This makes any of them into a 1k counter once per turn. Also, you draw 2 off of it, and then you swing your leader, draw another card. You're up 2 for that turn. But the crazy part is that effect isn't locked to Rocks Pirates either. So you could put this in something like Blue-Yellow Nami, or, Blue-Black Sakazuki, or potentially even something as crazy as, like, I don't know, Blue-Green Rosinante, right? This can go in any blue deck, and it's just going to get you an extra card, make a 5/7 body, and then on top of that, give you a free 1k every turn if you're playing a deck with a lot of bricks. Seems very, very solid to me, right? The only thing that would make this crazier is if it was Slash, which it is not, but still, seems like a pretty good card to me. Excuse me. Next, we have a 1-cost brick. Going to be 1 cost, 2,000 power, Streusen. So, he's a Rocks Pirate that says, on play, you look at the top 2 of your deck and put them at the top or bottom in any order, then draw a card, right? So just a very good, essentially searcher, but more so just like card fixer. I think if they gave this deck an outright 3 or 5 searcher, it would just be broken. So Streusen seems pretty fair here, right? And this also potentially lets you play a couple cards that aren't Rocks Pirates, right? As if you want to make sure that you get your leader effect, you just play out the Streusen for 1, and then you look at the top 2. You make sure that the one that you put on top is the one that isn't a Rocks Pirate. You draw that card, and then when you swing with your leader, you reveal the one that is, and you get to draw another 2. Pretty strong effect. This right here is also not a Rocks Pirate. It's just a 7-cost AK, 2,000 power counter, 2,000 counter Jinbei. The typings here are Fishman, Impel Down, Sun Pirate. So there you go. More Jinbei support and more Goofy support, I suppose. Let's get back on down here to the rest of these Rocks Pirates. We have 3-cost, 5,000 power Don Marlin. So a really great vanilla stat line here. On play, you get to add a blue event with a cost of 0 from your trash to your hand. Pretty decent effect. We'll get to those 0 costs here in a second, but I think a pretty good idea to get back some of those events. So potentially a 2 to a 3 of. in the deck with this Don Marlin here if you need a low curve. Next, we have another 5-drop 7k power. So this is going to be Barbell. So this guy is a Fishman and Rocks Pirates type character. So something to note, you could run this in something like Jinbei, right, to kind of synergize with the Jinbei strategy as well, potentially, if this card is good, you know, better than your other options. This is a 5-cost 7k with no counter. On KO, your opponent has to place 2 cards from their hand at the bottom of their deck in any order. Brutal. So basically, Rocks is broken. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going over all the cards right now, and then I'll give you my thoughts in a second. But right now, I'm just kind of doing the live reaction with y'all. But a 5-cost 7k with no counter is already... I mean, we proved with Linlin that it was decent, but this guy has 2 lines of text for effect that seem really good. So that first on KO just means your opponent's never clearing this, because not only are they losing 2 cards in their hand, which, spoiler alert, if you play the Charlotte Linlin, they're probably making you draw. They don't even go to their trash. So if you're playing against a deck like Emu, or, you know, any of these decks that have some sort of trash recurring, maybe even Black Luffy, the new one, this gets rid of those cards forever. I mean, they go to the bottom of your deck, so you're not finding those anytime soon, right? Pretty brutal. So your opponent, I don't think, will ever want to clear this card. Also, it's a 7k, so it's huge. So they probably have to invest Dawn just to clear this, and then lose 2 cards out of their hand. You're sticking this, buddy. But that's not all. Activate main once per turn. You can trash any card from your hand to give him 3,000 power for the turn. 5-cost 10k swinger? Hello? Seems kind of crazy. Now, granted, I think in Rocks, this card probably doesn't make it in at more than 2, just because your 5-cost Linlin is so crazy, and you have so many other great low-cost options here with, like, the Captain John, potentially, or this Gloriosa, something like that. But, I mean, a really solid option. This card's going to be a beast in pre-release, guys. It's going to be so dumb, dude. If it's just, it was just a comment, yeah, people are just going to have, it's like, oh, I pulled 3 of these in my packs. Yeah, you just win the pre-release, right? Like, what do you do if they go 5-cost Barbell into 5-cost Barbell into 5-cost Barbell, and then they have Dawn to equip? Like, it doesn't matter if they have to trash, because the card they trash is generic. So it's like, oh no, I went down to like 3 cards in hand, but I'm swinging 3 10Ks at you. Like, there's nothing in pre-release you're going to do. And then we have potentially my favorite character out of the entire set. 3 cost 5,000 power Miss Buckingham Stussy. Now, real quick before I continue, I do want to say for any of y'all in the chat right now, I am not past Wano currently in the anime. So if there are spoilers, which I'm assuming Rocks Pirates are spoilers because I haven't seen any of these characters mentioned as more so than just like a passing, like, oh yeah, they were part of the crew. So I don't know anything about the lore, so please don't lore dump on me. I don't want to get spoiled, because I'm already almost there. But with that being said, Miss Buckingham Stussy. I wonder why she got the Miss Buckingham title here. Did she, like, lose it? Is that why she doesn't have it? I don't know. I'll have to get there in the anime. But anyways, 3 cost 5,000 power Miss Buckingham Stussy Rocks Pirates character. On play, up to one of your opponent's characters with a base cost, not cost, base cost, of 6 or less cannot attack until the end of your opponent's next end phase. So finally, guys, we have returned freezing to the original color that it started in, blue, right? Because we started with it all the way back in, like, I don't even remember what it was that blue 6-cost boa was. The 6-cost 8k stun, a character that isn't Monkey D. Luffy, and then bottom deck a 1-cost. We finally have it back, but now it's for 3 Dawn, and it stuns a base 6. So really awesome effect here. Just a great low Dawn answer on, let's say your opponent's on their 6 Dawn turn in something like Mihawk, and you don't want them to be playing out like the Mihawk into Odin, right? Their Odin's going to freeze one of your guys. So on your next turn, instead of developing a big body, you could potentially go Miss Buckingham Stussy here to play her out. Keep their Mihawk from attacking so that they can't get their free draw 1, trash 1, and establish a 3-5, and then still have some Dawn up for something like a Gloriosa to, I don't know, bottom deck the Kozuki Odin they just played, or, I don't know, something like a Kaido to give it minus 3k, one of their characters, so you can swing over it. It just seems really good. But there's more text on this card at a 3 cost 5k. Let's read it. Activate main, you can rest 3 of your Dawn cards and this character, so pay 3, rest this character. Up to one of your opponent's characters cannot attack until the end of your opponent's next end phase. Okay, so for 3 Dawn, we get a 3-5 that stops one of their base 6s from swinging, and then if we pay 3 more and turn her sideways, we stop anything on their board from swinging. Seems crazy. This card's going to be such a menace, guys. And oh, by the way, in case you were wondering, this card's not locked at all, because why would it be? So you can play it in something like Blue Yellow Nami, Heaven Forbid, or, I don't know, Blue Black Sakazuki. What other blue decks are good? I don't even think there are any, right? Hold on. Hold on. Let me double check here. Leader rankings. Are there any other blue decks that are worth anything right now? You could potentially play this in blue-green Luffy, I guess. It's not an Impel down, so I don't know why you would, but you could. Blue-yellow Boa could run it, or Kuzan. I think this will be a menace in Kuzan as well. But yeah, pretty funny. Anyways, going back down to where we are. Yeah, this Stussy is just an insanely good card, guys. I really like this card. Is it going to be toxic? Yes. Christopher, what's good, brother? What I got, we're looking at the Rocks cards right now, and then after that, I'm going to give my thoughts on, like, Rocks, and then we're going to take a look at some leaders to watch out for in the new format. So I wanted to do the Robin deck build, but I have some stuff I need to do a little bit later tonight, so unfortunately I won't be able to get to that. But yeah, we're just chatting and chilling, you know, just having a good old time. Yeah, this card's going to be a menace, guys. I think Miss Buckingham Stussy might be the best card in the set, which is crazy because they printed the Green Shanks deck. But I think individual card power, Miss Buckingham Stussy and Lin are up there for, like, strongest card. Now we have those zero-cost events that Don Marlin was talking about. So we'll look at the first one. The first one is there's no authority in the world that lasts forever. So this is a zero-cost event with the Rocks Pirates type because all the cards need to be Rocks in this deck. Main, you can rest one of your Don cards, so it costs 1. Up to one of your Rocks.D.Xebec gains unblockable during this turn. So that includes leader or potentially a Rocks.D.Xebec character, which there might be. Spoiler alert, there is. Seems pretty good because, I mean, hear me out, right? You pay 1 for this, stack a couple Don on your leader, swing him unblockable. Your opponent's like, okay, cool, take that one. You're like, all right, well, 3 Don Marlin, grab it back, spend another Don, give something else unblockable. GG's? Like, I guess you're just cooked. And then, of course, it also has a counter. The counter is if up to one of your leader with a type including Rocks Pirates or a character with a type including Rocks Pirates gets 2k power during this battle, excuse me. So kind of like NL, right? One of those zero-cost 2ks. So this is probably one of the only cards in the deck, I think, other than the other zero-cost. Yeah, the other zero-cost does the same thing. So this is one of 2 cards in the deck that has any counter at all inherently, other than playing it out. Right, because all these other ones are characters that you have to play out and then trash cards. These are the only ones that actually have counter in your hand so far. What is the main effect for this one, though? So it's a 0 cost, rest 5, so 5 costs, basically. Return a character with the cost of 6 or less to the owner's hand. That's pretty good, right? It's nothing to write home about. Like, at 5 Don, I think you'd rather play Lin to draw a card and get a 1k counter, or... I mean, heck, even Gloriosa is doing the same thing, but it bottom decks and you get a blocker for 1 Don less. But the fact that this is also a 2k, I think, means you play it, right? And then last but not least, we do have a stage, the mandatory stage, full of lead. Isn't that Teach's place? Whatever. 1 cost blue event, or excuse me, 1 cost blue stage with the Rocks Pirates type, of course. On your opponent's attack, you can rest the stage and trash a card up to one of your leader with Rocks Pirates or characters. Gets plus 1k power during this battle. Characters with Rocks Pirates. Rocks Pirates locked. But you can just get a free 1k every turn by trashing this and a card from your hand. Or resting this in a card from your hand. This seems okay. I think it'll really be up to see like how many aggro decks are in the format, how good this is, right? Because I think otherwise you would just want to play something like, I don't know, like one of these little blockers at the beginning, or a bunch of Stroisens to set up your hand, and then you just start going Lin for 1ks into Newgate for 3ks and Shiki for 3ks, and then you just go from there. But, yeah, just a free 2k with a bad effect. Well, see, that's the funny part, Chris, is, sure, it's a 2k with a bad effect, but, like, if you think about it, what are our other 2Ks doing that are, like, good? What's a good 2K? Usohachi, rest of 5. That costs 3 to play it out, right? And you get a body. If you think about it, there's an old card called, I think it's like 3000 Worlds. It's a 4-cost event, and I think you bottom deck like a 4 or a 5. And it's a 4-cost event, and it has no counter. So this, I mean, compared to that is insane, because you, for 5, you get a 6-cost or less. But also it's a 2k in your hand, so... I don't know. It seems pretty good. I like it. So you have 8 2Ks in the deck so far, and then technically a bunch of 1Ks and 3Ks if you play out your dudes. Seems pretty strong. Now, there is one more card, I saved the best for last here, that goes in the deck, and it is one of the secret rares for this set. So this is going to be your 10-cost 12,000 power slash attribute, 0 counter Rocks.D.Xebec character, right? The big bad himself. So if you only have characters with a counter, this card is a 2K in your hand. So technically you're playing 12 2Ks, right? Because I'm assuming you run most of the events to all of them. So you have 4 2Ks here in your Rocks.D.Xebec the second that you play any of your dudes. So probably the whole game. That way, you know, if you have too many of these in your hand, you're not bricked, even though technically you're like always bricked with this deck because none of your cards have counter, but you get my drift. On play, you draw a card. Pretty good, 10-12 draw card, and then play 2 Rocks Pirates type cards with different card names and a total cost of 9 or less from your hand. There it is, the big bomb. So basically like a blue Rebecca effect, or almost like a black Gecko Moria, but on cracked, because you can just play any of these, and all they have to do is have a different name. So you could do like Lin and Gloriosa, Lin and Kaido, Lin Captain John. You could do you know, Struisen and Barbell. You could do Shiki and Kyo. You know, there's a lot of possibilities. Now, granted, you probably want to do the very specific pairings, like for instance, Miss Buckingham Stussy in adjacent to Edward Newgate, right? Because they're kind of like a pair and they add up to 9. Newgate's going to draw you a card, Stussy's going to freeze something, and then Newgate's going to give you 3Ks. So, I mean, this is just really good, right? The whole point of the deck is you're just drawing cards, trashing cards, sculpting hand, playing bodies to wait, playing bodies to stun with the Stussy, playing cards to give you card advantage or take card advantage away, such as the Shiki to make your opponent's guys smaller, right? The Lidlands to draw. This is just a really great end game bomb. Now let's talk about what I think about the leader itself, right? My biggest gripe with the leader, if we click on it here, is this top right corner, the slash attribute. I don't know why he's slash lore-wise, because again, I'm not there yet. But Mihawk was already going to be good because Green Shanks is a thing, right? And Mihawk, for those of you who don't know, gets 1k for free to his leader for the entire game if your opponent's leader is slash. Well, unfortunately, Rocks.D.Xebec is also slash, so you're going to be playing against the 6k 5 life green leader with a ton of brand new support if you play Rocks. So that's definitely something to watch out for. His leader effect is really good though, guys. Like, go +2 every turn instead of +1 seems crazy. Filter hand, and then you get to play all of these broken Rocks cards, or not broken, but I mean just insanely powerful, right? Like if we go back to our search here, all of these except for Gloriosa have such impressive stat lines for their costs, right? Like this Kyo, a 2-cost 4k, is almost the same as Black Luffy's 2-cost 5k characters, but the whole thing with the Black Luffy's 2-cost 5ks is if we look over here at something like this Robin, they have to stick a 12-cost character first, right? Which isn't super hard, right? They have like the Gird here and stuff like that, but still, they have to have that character on board just to be a 2-cost 5k. We're like, okay, what if we just have 1k less power, but you draw a card and also protect all of your guys? Seems good. But yeah, look, like a 5/7, guys. Like, think about Green Smoker. Green Smoker, a 5/7 with Banish that restands a Dawn every turn for free, is already a staple in Mihawk right now because of things like the Green Mihawk being able to play it out and it being slash searchable. But now you have a card that goes +1 in hand as opposed to Dawn. Like, that's just crazy, right? I mean, and we have multiples. We have the 5/7. We have a 5/10 with Barbell for like -1 card, which we don't care because that actually makes us just go +1 normal for the turn because you draw for turn, trash that one for Barbell, and then you swing with leader, and then you draw too. Like, seems pretty crazy, right? Barbell seems really good as a 5/7 as well, but then for 1 Dawn more, you're getting Boa Hancock's stat line, but you draw a card, so it's actually free to play, and also you get a 3k every turn. Like, dude, come on, this seems kind of crazy. This deck looks really, really strong. I will say, though, not for the faint of heart. I don't think this deck is going to be free 99 like a lot of people think. Oh, broken Emu leader again. Well, the thing with Emu was in high tables you did have to think, but there just wasn't anything on the same power level. Well, that's not the case with Rocks. We have Green Shanks, right? We have even Purple Kaido, I think, is pretty decently powerful. We have Green Mihawk, right? There's a ton. We have Purple NL, which is an extremely fast and aggressive deck that is going to be able to pressure your life very early. And, I mean, in case you guys didn't see, none of these blue cards have counter except for the ones for Impel Down. So it's going to be very skill intensive, I think, to see how efficiently you're able to manage your hand, to know what cards you need for each matchup. So it's going to be at least in that vein of needing to know your matchups, similar in skill to something like Black Teach from OP09, right? Black Teach was one of those decks where it was extremely powerful and honestly kind of broken on release, but the issue was there were only a few people who saw real success with the deck because it was so difficult to play, in that you had to know your opponent's matchup and their deck and know what they were playing. And I think Rocks is going to be kind of similar, where you need to know what kind of deck you're playing into, what cards you need in your hand, what cards you can trash, when you can trash, things like that. The other thing I think about this leader that is something to note, you probably won't be playing any tech cards. Like, there's 2 cards I think I've seen that you could potentially use for tech in this deck. And I'm going to pull both of them up now. They're probably expensive, by the way, so just FYI. Don't be scared of the prices. They'll probably chill out in a little bit when people find out you don't need to play them. But this carrot right here, luckily it's still 12 cents because this card is terrible. But, I mean, look at this. Everybody has, like, there's, like, one guy with 4 of them here for 10 cents each, but you're paying $1.50 for shipping. So, this card here, you could play it because on play, you look at the top 3, put them at the top or bottom of your deck in any order, right? So it lets you reorder the top 3 to make sure that you don't whiff your leader for the next probably just one swing. But on your opponent's attack, you can trash his character to give up to one of your leaders 1,000 power for the battle. So it's just a 1k in your hand or on the board. Kind of okay, right? Like, you could brick off this with your leader if you don't know your top. So the potential there to go -1 in hand is just awful. And then the other one, of course, is going to be Mr. 3. Right, so this is just an amazing SR that's been amazing since it came out. It's probably spiking back up a little. Oh, no, it's kind of chill right now. So it might be a good time to pick these up. But this guy right here, 4 cost 5k. Activate main, trash this, draw 2, and then up to one of your opponent's characters with the cost of 9 or less cannot attack to the end of your opponent's next end phase. Really good effect. But, like, again, if we look at Mr. 3, you can also go back over here and look at the Rocks deck. And we have a Mr. 3 at home, right? It's actually better because it's repeatable. Granted, it doesn't draw you an extra card, but, like, who cares, right? So, I don't know. Those are 2 tech options you could run, but I think you have to run all the Rocks Pirate stuff. So this is going to be one of those decks where I think you live and die by if you decide to use tech, what tech you use if you do, and then as well as, like, how well you play and know your matchups and things like that, and then your ratios. So I think it's going to be a pretty skillful leader, all things considered. Will it steamroll certain decks from older sets? Of course. I mean, that's just kind of how anniversary sets work, right? You get a bunch of new decks, they're all crazy power jumps for the most part, then you steamroll. This is actually an interesting anniversary set, in my opinion, in that I don't feel like OP13 where, well, you gotta play Green Shanks or Rocks or you just lose, or I gotta play Green Shanks or Black Luffy or I just lose, right? Because in 13, that's how it was. It was like, okay, well, you have Emu, you have Ace, you could play Green Zoro and probably get dogged most of the time, and then potentially Roger or Sabo if you're a really good pilot or you're lucky. And that was it. Like, nothing else was, like, really that close, right? If you look at this meta, we still have Purple NL is really good. Goofy is probably insane into stuff like Shanks, right? Stuff like Rocks, right? Just anything that's slower, it's going to be really good into. You have Green Mihawk. I think I already... Did I say that? I said NL... Goofy, Mihawk, Bleo Nami might still be shaking around if Shanks isn't that guy. I don't think Shanks is going to be as good into Nami as Mihawk is. It'll still be good, but I don't know about as good. Black Yellow Teach will still be creeping around, messing with people. So it's going to be a little bit wider of a anniversary set meta than I think a lot of people are really, you know, anticipating. I mean, Red Ace is another one I would watch out for because the new gate leader himself is pretty mid, but the red cards they're getting are really, really good. And I think Red Ace can abuse a lot of them. So yeah, I think Rocks is going to be a pretty skillful leader. I think it's going to be fun. Jinbei might be good too. Yeah, I know, I agree. And here's the reason why I think, Chris, you're right with Jinbei. And also, just like any blue deck, I'm just going to like re-look at some point or watch out for. Like if I sit across from like a blue-black Usopp, I'm scared, right? And here's the reason why. Because they have all these cards. Like, dude, blue-black Usopp is already really tanky with all of their blockers and drawing a card if they're low in hand and all that stuff. If they drop a Stussy on top of that, dude, you are so fried. They're going to stop your base 6, they're going to stop another attack, and then they're just going to block with all their stuff and refill their hand and counter for it, so you're never clearing this character. They can, I mean, Nami can drop the Stussy, they can drop a Charlotte Lynn, like, dude, blue decks are going to be crazy. Gloriosa, bottom deck year 5, like, it's going to be an interesting time, and I'm kind of glad, because I might be hot take here, I might be, you know, small potatoes, like not that, not many people might agree with me here, but I feel like ever since Blue Nami started becoming good and they had to gatekeep Blue hasn't been that great. There was one format where Blue was like really that oppressive as like, and I'm not talking Blue Yellow Nami, because Blue Yellow Nami, the issue with her being oppressive is not her being blue. It's her having yellow and access to Thriller Slop and Borsalino. And anybody who disagrees with me on that is, you're a casual. Like, the thing with Blue Yellow Nami has been and has always been and always will be the best cards in that color. And if you look at a Blue Yellow Nami deck, 90% of that deck is yellow, right? You got the 5-cost Namis, you got the 7-cost Robins, you got Teaches, you got Morias, you got Perona, Hogback, Kumasi, Borsalino. What else is in there that's yellow? Probably some Zeuses, sure. And the only blue cards you have is Mr. 3 Galdino, because it's the best blue card right now. You have maybe some Marcos and 2 Gravity Blades. Am I missing anything here? Like, I don't think, like, maybe they're on Vivi and, Blue Nami and they're, like, suboptimal, but whatever. Blue Yellow Nami has always been broken because of the yellow. We have not had a good blue deck since OP 8.5 with, with Blue Doflamingo with the starter deck buff. Back when Black Yellow Luffy was still a thing and Lucci was still a thing. That was the last time that there was a good blue deck. Newgate, maybe? You talking about, like, decks to watch out for, Chris? Or what do you mean by Newgate? You talking about, like, Blue, Newgate, and Ace? Because I don't think that leader was ever, like, that crazy. Blue, Red, Ace? Yeah. See, a lot of people say that Blue, Red, Ace are like, oh, that's a red deck. I was actually on the train. I do think Blue, Red, Ace was more of a blue deck because their best cards were blue, right? But I think the funny part about that is the longer the game has gone on, the more red that deck has gotten. Like, if you look at it, it was playing red Newgates. It was playing, I don't know. There's other red cards in there. But now it's like, oh, now they run Moby Dick because that's a stage that's red. Now they run Red Zoro because it buffs their leader, right? And Moby Dick can search it. They run Red Garp is like one of the better cards because it can search anything. They're getting a bunch of new support to potentially make it aggro. So now they're running all that reds. Like, they might even be running the double attack Newgate. Like, the deck has gotten progressively more red. Newgate. Oh, yeah, duh. In Nami. Yeah, obviously. Newgate and Nami. That was the blue. I knew I was missing a blue card, but yeah. Blue, Newgate, and Nami as well, which I don't think we'll see for Nami moving forward, just because if green's going to be everywhere, that Newgate's going to suck, dude. Like, all the green cards are just, like, rested, dude. So, I don't know. Maybe people still play the Newgate, but we'll see. But yeah, there hasn't been, like, a pure blue deck that's been good, like, since 8.5, I think. Like, sure, Blue Red Ace was... Honestly, I think Blue Red Ace was probably the most, like, in the middle of dual color leaders, right? Like, if you look at Black Yellow Teach, super yellow. Blue Yellow Nami, super yellow. Red Yellow Sabo's, like, literally just yellow, except for Garp. Like, a lot of these dual color leaders have been primarily one color. Blue-green Luffy, I would say, is a pretty even split, just because the Luffy Searcher is green and the boas are green and the events are green. And then you have Blue-Red Ace, I think, is another one that's, like, right down the middle. But the last time, again, that a blue deck was good was that Blue Doflamingo in 8.5. And then technically, I think it was super underplayed because people didn't like the deck. But Blue Nami, before she got banned, was good in, like, OP12 and especially OP12.5. And then they announced the Otama OP13 2K card, and then the deck got banned 3 days later. But I think those are, like, the last great blue decks. And then before that, what was a good blue deck? Like, Buggy was okay for a little bit. The OP16 Buggy was trash, unfortunately, as much as I tried to make that work. Like, there just hasn't been a good blue leader. So, this guy right here looks like the return of blue. And the way they had to do it was like, okay, well, we're going to give him a really difficult gimmick so that all of his cards are, like, very fair in other decks. And then give him some of the craziest cards we've ever seen printed, right? Like, everybody's complaining about Shanks, and I agree that Shanks is definitely overtuned. I think Shanks is low-key gatekept by how fair his leader effect is. Like, I think, I mean, a lot of people are going to get mad at me again. I think Shanks' leader effect is the fairest part of this deck. Right? Because if you look at all the other cards, they're just kind of dumb, right? Like, if you look at this one, if your character that's Red Hair Pirates would be removed, you just rest a card. Sure. Like, just rest any card. So hard to do. It's literally just better Laboon. Because Laboon, you have to rest 2. This one's like, nah, just rest 1. 10 cost Shanks. Rest all of your opponent's characters and set Dawn active. It's a 10-12 with Rush. Broken. Like, this just goes in every green deck ever till the end of time. Don't worry about that, Nami. That's for Krieg. 8 cost 8k with 1k counter Banish. Like, kind of busted. Oh, yeah, and on play rest a character, because sure. KO an opponent's rested 6 or less. Like, for 4, 5, and 1k counter, you kill a 6 or less on KO. And then activate main, you get arrested onto your leader. Like, yeah, they're trying to make Shanks best deck in format. I agree. And it's funny, because a lot of people love Red Shanks. Like, even back in 09, when Red Shanks was, like, fair but high rolly, like, people just love the character Shanks. My thing is, like, when I read this leader, I was like, oh, great, it's Green Bonnie for OP17. Like, they're just reprinting the leader, effectively. And then all the cards that they printed for it are like, oh, but what if Green Bonnie was just, like, broken? Right? Like, all these cards are custom, except for, like, the commons, right? Like, I mean, this guy, let's see, what does this one do? I think this one's new. I haven't even seen this one. It's a 2k, so you're probably playing it. If you use red-haired, rest opponent's character cost of 2 or less on KO draw. I mean, it's okay if Goofy's around. Oh, is it base cost? Oh, no, this works against Black Luffy, which is nice, because Black Luffy is one of your tougher matchups. But yeah, 7-9, Ben Beckman, rush character, on play if your leader's red-haired, draw a card, so go card neutral and rest 2 of your opponent's characters. Like, yeah, because that's fine. Right? Like, this, like, if we're being realistic, guys, if we're being realistic, keep in mind, this is the blue card. Find the blue card out of these 2 effects, right? Like, cover your eyes. I'm going to tell you 2 effects, and you tell me which one's the blue card. Rush character, when attacking or on your opponent's attack, trash a card, give an opponent's character minus 3k for the turn. Rush character, on play, if your leader is type, draw a card and rest 2 of your opponent's characters. The only reason this one gives away that it's green is because it rests characters, but this replaces itself. Like, in the deck, that the whole point is drawing cards and, like, playing characters, right? Like, replacing themselves. The 7 cost 9k break doesn't replace itself. And in the green deck, where the whole point is resting characters and stuff, it does. And it rests 2 characters. Like, what are we doing? Like, look at this one. It's a blocker, on play, kill a rested 6 cost. For 4, sure. A 4/4 blocker, on play, activated Dawn, then rest 2 of your opponent's characters with 2 or less cost. So, you know, nice try, Black Luffy. You know, you got Yasop, draw a card, rest an 8 or less. So this one, again, replaces itself. Like, a lot of these cards go card even, guys. It's just insane. These events, by the way, I haven't gone over these yet, so I'll go over them real quick. 1 cost, main, you may rest 6 Dawn cards, so 7 total. Rest up to one of your opponent's characters, period. So, nice Newgate, Nami. Anyways, you're dead. And then KO 2 of your opponent's rested characters with a cost of 6. So this is literally Green Gravity Blade Raging Tiger. The only stipulation is one of their characters has to be rested, because you rest the other one. Oh yeah, and then it's a counter +4 if you're Shanks. Like, I think even if you're not Shanks, you low-key just run this, right? Like, as a 1 or a 2 of, if you're scared of Swarm decks. The Shiki looks like it's supposed to be red. Yeah, honestly, like, that's the crazy part is we have the red deck, and they still didn't give it any, like, okay, I can't say they didn't give it anything, but here's what they did with red. They said, okay, we see that purple generically has the best power reduction, so what we're going to do is we're going to give power reduction to everything else type locked, right? Because purple's type locking is returning the Dawn for the power reduction. And then for red, they're like, what we're going to do is we're going to leader lock the removal, but it's just going to be the best removal ever, right? Look like this. 6/6 character with 1k counter that costs 2 less if you have a big dude. On play, if your leader is Newgate, minus 6k during a turn to a character. Minus 6? Sure. Did I just hear Gamma Knife +1 for 4, and you get a 6k body? Okay, well, at least there's no other cards that do that. Right? Like, at least that's the only one. What's this? A 4 cost 6k. Rush character. On play, if your leader's Edward Newgate or his Land of Wano, give an opponent's rested character minus 6k. So granted, this one has to be rested, but still, like, 4 cost 6k, minus 6 to something, so you just get a 1k for swinging at a 12k body that's rested? Ew. Like, they gave Newgate a lot of crazy tools here. Luckily, they did leader lock it, because, dude, if this wasn't leader locked and it was just like color locked, like if your leader's monocolored, red ace best deck in format. Like minus 6k rush character for 4, you're just cooked. You are so dead. It's not even funny. But yeah, I mean, the Shiki looks like it's supposed to be red. The green cards look like they're supposed to be blue. The power creep's obvious, guys. The only issue that I have with this is red is super, super xenophobic, which xenophobic, for those of you who don't know, is it's archetype locked. So red is like play Newgate, maybe land a Wano, or do nothing, right? Yeah, imagine that in blue-red 8. Yeah, blue-red 8 just delete everything constantly, because they also have red Zoro. Like, you would just be farming. What does this one do? Oh yeah, that's like okay. This basically just makes red Newgate like a really bad red ace. It's kind of funny, but it's a 2K, so I guess you play it. But yeah, the power creep is very obvious in this set, so I think it's definitely going to be a step up. But the funny part is the fact that we already have decks that will compete, right? Like I think purple NL will still complete, because as cool as it is that they put a card in every single color that says we hate purple NL, I don't think people are going to play them, because most people are going to be hopping off, at least if they're competitive, they're going to be hopping off purple NL to play Mihawks, Shanks, or Rocks, because they just want to play the new decks and also the most recently buffed decks that are also probably going to be the best decks. So a lot of people are going to be hopping off of NL. So because of the low play rate, I don't think anybody's going to play the NL counters, which means consequently NL is going to be really good. Kind of like, what was another set that did that? I think it was OP, was it 15? Yeah, OP 15, I think it was, where Nami hadn't come out in that set, but it was just really, really good. But a lot of people played Nami. What was another one where not a lot of people played it? I think it was OP 11 was the last one I can think of, because the best deck in that set was Blue-Purple Luffy by a mile. Like, nothing in that set competed with Blue-Purple Luffy. But Red-Yellow Bello Betty farmed Blue-Purple Luffy, excuse me, not Luffy, but nobody played it. So, like, the few Bettys that did play, like, always won out, right? But not a lot of people played it. So I think that's how NL is going to end up being. It's going to be kind of like almost in the exact same style, right? Where it's just super aggressive, killing all these slower decks that have insane top end and late game. Red-Green Luffy, maybe? Yeah, well, here's the thing with Red-Green Luffy, actually. I know a lot of people are going to be picking it up for this OP 16.5 starter deck format that we have, because I mean, I don't know if you've seen the matchup chart. Hold on, let me sign in real quick. Swap that. Okay, yeah. So let's go ahead and look at this over here. So we go back here. Leader rankings. I mean, Red-Green Luffy is currently, even just this last week, it is the best deck by a lot. Like, that's almost a 54% win rate. That's, I think, higher than Nami. Also, Strabo going crazy. But yeah, look at this. Look at this matchup chart, guys. Look at this matchup chart. We're going to just show a bunch. Look, you have 4 unfavored decks. You have Black Yellow Teach, Red Shanks, Black Teach, and Purple Katakuri. And Purple Katakuri, you can probably win if you just go first. You're even. You're having a fair game into 4 decks. The mirror match. Wow, it's dead even, too. That's crazy. First and second. The mirror match, purple NL, depending on if you win die roll, blue-yellow Boa, and red-blue Ace. And everything else, literally everything else, out of these, what is that, 28 decks here, is just you're winning. And winning by, like, a lot. Like, okay, so let's look. What's the fairest out of these winning matchups? I think the fairest is, probably Strabo, I think, is that red-black Sabo at 53%. Like, look at these. It's like an average of 60% win rate across the board, with some of them being like 75 into Yamato, 73 into Luffy Ace. Like, you are just farming, like, all of these decks, right? Like, good decks and bad decks. Like, Mihawk you farm, Goofy you farm, Kuzan you farm, Nami, Kid, Red Ace. Like, dude, you're just cooking everything. So I think, Chris, maybe just for that reason, Red-Green Luffy will just keep seeing play, because people are just going to start picking this deck up. Because they already have Mihawk built for OP 17. This deck plays most of the cards that Mihawk does, and the rest of the cards that it plays... Oh, excuse me. The rest of the cards it plays, minus like the secret rare Luffy, and I guess the starter deck stuff for like another week, are super affordable. Like, dirt cheap for the base rares. So I think a lot of people will stay on this, and I think a couple of them in the next set will actually stick with it. I think this will be super obnoxious to deal with. I personally built this in OP13 because I thought it was really cool and like a very interesting concept. And what I didn't realize at the time, but I realize now, is they just didn't print anything for it and they put it in the worst possible meta for the leader. This is it in like the average meta. Like getting up to 10k counter for free every turn is nuts, dude. That is literally almost half the 2ks for your average deck. And you get that for a whole turn just to burn. And then on your next turn, you refill it and you do it again. And you have bodies and you can use them all for your bodies too. Like, it's just insane. This deck is like super obnoxious to play into. But yeah, I think Red Green Luffy will also be another one that's good. I don't know how popular it'll be, but I know right now at least it's doing very well. So I can foresee that for sure in OP17 being an issue. But some decks that I think people should watch out for here, some leaders that I think people should watch out for. Let me go back again to leader rankings. Is Strabo first and foremost. About to run Emu Sunday because people are going to play RG. I don't know, Chris. Maybe if they got the cards, but I mean, when we played on, what was that, Thursday? When we played on Thursday, it was like a bunch of Mihawks. It was like Mihawks and, you know, stuff like that. So, because Mihawk cooks you is the thing with Emu. Like, I would say if you're going to play something to counter RG Luffy, you would play BY Teach. Because Teach actually has a, like, winnable matchup into Mihawk sometimes. And it also doesn't always die to NL. Like, you can beat NL. In fact, no, it has a good matchup in NL. Yeah. Emu's just like a gamble, I feel. Like, I didn't see... The only Luffy I saw that was running Straw Hat stuff was Red Luffy. So, if anything, I would run Red Luffy before... or I would run Teach before this. But yeah. I would watch out, and then this next set for Strabo here. Just because Strabo has, like, an actually kind of unfair... like unfair matchup into a lot of stuff just because of how fast the Straw Hat engine is. Like the fact that, like, look where Red Luffy is. I said, hold on, is this last week? Bro, where is it? It should be higher than this. Did I pass it? Yeah, I did. Okay. Look at Red Luffy. It's like a losing win rate. And then Strabo is just like a whole 4% higher almost. Yo, what's good, Benji? You don't got it built, Chris? Yeah, that's the unfortunate part. There's so many decks that have so many different cards now that you just have to, like, buy a case of every set. Like, I'm thinking of buying a case, which I'll pull this up while I talk about it. I was thinking of buying a case of this new set, guys. And I was like, yeah, I'll wait, like, 2 more weeks just to let prices kind of settle out. Because they were at, like, 4.3K when I was looking at them earlier. So I was like, yeah, I'll wait it out, right? Yeah, not a great idea, guys. Look at how much a frickin' case is right now. This is the lowest, by the way. Pre-sale. Granted, all this is pre-sale, but yeah. 4,900 bucks. Granted, shipping's included, but still 4,900 bucks. Probably about 5K after taxes, right? And then it's like, yep, they're all sitting at about 49. And look at the crazy parts. Look at the history. Look how many of these have sold at pre-sale. 50 in 3 days. 50 of them sold in 3 days, bro. What are we doing? That's crazy. So yeah, this is gonna be one of the sets, bro. One of the sets. Oh, happy Taco Tuesday, Benji. Yeah, right. At this point, if shipping's not included, you're just getting swatted. But yeah, some decks that I think that we should that I at least am going to watch out for playing. Strabo for sure, because it's not that crazy expensive and it's really fun actually and strong. I crapped on this deck a lot, by the way, in Discord, so this is me saying I'm sorry I was not familiar with your game. Because Strabo's crazy. It's also really fun. I tried it out on stream last week, I think it was, and it's really fun. Another deck is going to be Marshall D. Teach. I think it will drop off significantly once 17 comes out, but it's again, kind of like Black Teach. I think it's going to be one of those decks that will always be an issue and can always be built to counter the meta. And so as long as you're a skilled pilot and you stick with this deck, guys, I think it will pay you back. I think OP09 Teach also, which is going to be like nowhere on this list because of all the aggro. Oh, 29th. There you I think OPO9 Teach in the new set will also be pretty good because a lot of the green Shank stuff is on plays. So, you know, they're like, oh yeah, well, we'll keep one of your guys rested for the whole game, and, you know, but they can't rest your stuff with most of their on plays. And a lot of them aren't running a ton of rest stuff events, right? All of their rest stuff is like on plays. Like if I go back to the card list here, hold on. If we go back to the, where's the search? Where is it? How did I do this last time? I think it was here. Yeah. So if we go back and we do OP17, I want to check something real quick. How many of these are actually activate mains? Because I feel like Bandai at one point is just going to completely forget that Black Teach is a thing, and then we're just going to go crazy. So, yeah, on play. Yeah, this one doesn't do anything for the Teach. This one will help that they can't remove. Nico Robin. Okay, that I'm going to have to say that for next week because I don't have a lot of time left. But Nico Robin, I'm going to build a deck for. I think it's going to catch a lot of people off guard. But yeah, this is going to be really your only option into Black Teach. Okay, guys, for those of you, if you're just dropping in, specifically OPO9 Black Teach, not Black Yellow. This card's going to be crazy into Black Teach right here. The Banish could also be potentially bad, but again, on play. So if you can just kill this before it does anything, it'll just work, right? This one has an Activate main and an on KO, but I doubt Shanks is even going to play this card, so you should be fine. This guy has Rush character, but no on play, so as long as you keep your guys stood up by the time they get to 7 Dawn, should be fine. This guy right here also is an on play, so you don't have to worry about that. On play, that's not a Shanks card. This one's an end of your turn, restand a Red Hair Pirate, so that will be annoying, but they don't get the draw card off it. So you can really starve out a Shanks pretty well here, I think. I mean, even their 10 cost, right, is an on-play rest everything. Yeah, so they just get a 10-12 rush, which is annoying, sure, but it's not ending the game, you know? This will be, like, the only issue, I feel like, for OPO9 Teach to deal with, is resting 2 of their characters with this event, and then killing 2 with the 6 or less will suck. Now, granted, you play, you know, Burgess, so they'll only be able to lock down one Burgess and potentially swing kill the other, but, I mean, that's costing them their whole turn, so you should be fine. This right here is a Searcher, gives you 2k. Okay, this one also, rest 4 Dawn, so for 4 you rest one of their characters. Could potentially be an issue, but again, we'll have to see how many of them actually run this right here. It's probably not a lot. So, but yeah, I think it's going to be great into green Shanks first off, which is ironic. It's usually bad into green, right, like Mihawk. It'll also be good into Xebec, actually, I think, Xebec. Xebec will probably be able to outvalue you, but you could probably go the distance against this deck purely because a lot of these are on plays, right? Depending on how many Captain Johns they run, it could be rough. This is Activate main. The only Activate mains you need to be worried about are, like, this Shiki here is going to be a menace against you, and then the Miss Buckingham Stussy will be an issue until you can get rid of it. But yeah, I think Black Teach is going to be really good into everything except Black Luffy. So again, one of those decks that has like unlosable matchups and unwinnable matchups. But what can they really KO besides Weenies and Borsa? What, in Black Teach? They can KO a lot in Black Teach. I mean, at this point, you don't even really need to KO stuff, though, you know? Like, the thing is, a lot of people went on board with, like, the KO packages. They're like, ah, yes, this is, like, ideal Black Teach. And, like, if you're removing on plays, you really don't need to, because they're playing vanillas and you're not, right? Like, all of your stuff is Activate main, doing things. You know, all of your cards work, and most of theirs don't. Like, it's just a really, really good trade into most decks, right? You can play stuff like Liberation as well if somebody like gets a faster start than you and just even out their board. You can play stuff like Black Vortex to negate Crazy Swingers because there's a ton of like wild cards, right? Like if they're counting on their Howling Gab Banish, you can just go Black Vortex, negate it, and then don't even have to worry about it. Oh, for the Shanks event? You're talking about Black Yellow Teach, Chris. I'm talking about Black Teach. OPO9 Black Teach. OPO9 Black Teach has a good Shanks matchup, in my opinion. They can't really kill anything in Black Teach besides... I mean, yeah, they kill a Van Augur, you draw a card. They can't kill your what's it called? Burgess. They can't kill your Jesus Burgess. They can kill your Kuzan blocker, but I don't even think you run that. You never leave anything else on the board. They can't kill your 5-cost Kuzan. All your other stuff is bigger. Yeah, you're thinking BY Teach. You're good. You're good. I got you. But yeah, I think Black Teach potentially has really great matchups in this next set. Now, it probably dies to Lin. Well, it could beat Lin. It's probably bad, but it could beat Lin. Because the issue is, all of her dudes say, trigger, play this card. But also, no, they're high cost. Yeah, you probably just lose to Lin. And then Kaido's probably too fast because you just play a 10 cost on like your, what should be 5 Dawn turn, right? Like, it's just broken. But yeah, I think this will have some pretty decent matchups in the new format. Just one of those decks that, again, if you've been on this since OP09 or was thinking about playing a really hard deck that randomly just hard counters like 4 decks, Marshall D. Teach is there, dude. He's always been there for you. And the other ones I want to look at are actually ones I've been playing a lot more recently. First one here is going to be this bad boy right here. Big Mom's Firstborn. And something that I've actually been really enjoying, especially at locals. And then last but not least, she's way down here. My homegirl, Black Yellow Koala. So we're going to look at category first. So right now he has over a 50% win rate, which is pretty good, right? That means you're winning your games. His matchups are pretty good, right? I mean, sure, you lose to NL, you lose to Goofy, and you lose to Strabo, as well as Rosie, Yamato, and Red Luffy. But you have really good favored matchups. Like, look at this spread, guys. Green Mihawk, you're cooking. Red Green Luffy, you're cooking. Black Yellow Teach, you're cooking. Blue Kuzan, you're cooking, unless you go second. Blue Nami, you're cooking. Yellow Kid, you're cooking. And, you know, I mean, you're doing good. Let's show a couple more here. Yeah, I mean, you get a couple more unfavored, right, into, like, other control decks that are a little bit slower, other decks that are faster than you. But, I mean, you're even into Yellow Luffy. Wow. And you pick up stuff like, you know, all these other control decks. So, it's a really fun deck, really solid core, and I think a lot of people are not giving this deck the credit it deserves, right? I mean, this new 10-cost Lin, where is she? This beast of a card, dude. Oh, my soul. Like, on play, you just delete a character and heal for 1 card in hand? Sure. And the -4 is fake. Like, this literally, I played, like, 2 games where I didn't even see the 5-cost category over here to re-ramp my Dawn, and this -4 just didn't matter. Like, it literally didn't affect you at all, because you play one of these, you're already winning. Like, if you do the -4 and you can't get back to 10, oh no, I have to play a Kata, or I have to play a Pudding into Kata. And another thing to note here is for these unfavored matchups, a lot of these decks, I feel like, are going to get power crept. So, for instance, Purple Yellow Rosinante is pretty popular right now. I think it vanishes. This new set, I think it's just not good enough. Purple NL is going to see way less play because everybody's going to be on the new decks, right? This Blue-Green Luffy, I think, will also kind of fall under that same similar little thing. Strabo might see, you know, about the same amount of play, but it's already not played that much, right? So I think, you know, you have a lot of chances here because look at what you're favored into. Not necessarily the deck specifically, but the style. Control mid-range. Or I would even classify Mihawk as a mid-range now. It used to be control mid-range. Red-Green Luffy, control mid-range, right? Slower game. Black Yellow Teach, control. Blue's on control, mid-range. Blue Nami, control. Yellow Kid, control. Red Ace is aggro, I would call Red Ace mid-range. You know, all of these decks here, for the most part, are either other aggro decks that play kind of more of like a middling aggro, like a sort of a medium body aggro, or control decks, right? Loses to Shanks, just rest all your blockers. I mean, sure, they rest your Katakuris. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, right? Because I understand where you're coming from, Chris. And you're not wrong. You can rest all their blockers. But Katakuri's going to have those 8 costs out for a whole turn or two before you get to 10-cost Shanks. Like, if you go first with Katakuri, 1 Dawn search pass, 3 Dawn maybe search or something swing pass, right? 5 Dawn turn, 5 drop Katakuri, go to 6 pass. Your opponent can't clear that Katakuri. They can rest it and freeze it, but they cannot clear it. Because if they clear it, you get an 8-cost 8k blocker that ramps you a Dawn. And then the next turn, you're going Pudding into Katakuri blocker. You already have a Katakuri blocker, 7-cost Katakuri. And you restand the cards that your opponent Shanks is trying to keep frozen so they can't swing into them and clear them. I'm not saying it's an amazing matchup, but I'm not saying it's bad either. Because here's the other thing. Shanks has a lot of big bodies that's playing on curve, right? That seems to be Shanks' speed here. If we go back to OP17 real quick. I should just leave a tab open for... Oh, here, we have it. Okay, cool. Shanks, right, is trying to play a lot of big bodies on curve, right? Like, you're trying to go probably, I don't know, Bonk Punch or something, right? Bonk Punch on 4, maybe, or like a Yasop on 5 or 6, into a Beckman on your 8, because you want to go second into, you know, or a Gab into this Shanks here. And, I mean, Katakuri is really good at deleting those bodies because they're going to be at 10 a turn or two before they should. So they can play out this Lin here and just delete whatever body you turn to sideways. Granted, if you play the Yasop out, right, then they can, you know, keep it restood with the Yasop. But another card that Katakuri is running that I don't think a lot of people are respecting, first off, Mamaragan, so you can rest them with the Big Mom. So you can go Big Mom plus Mamaragan, turn it sideways, and delete it with, like, not that, but like any of your searchers. Like, you get a 1k for swinging a 0 at them, or, you know, this Brule here. But if we go to Sim deck list real quick, there's a card here that not a lot of people are aware of because not every Katakuri plays it. This right here, this Conquest of the Sea. So for Dawn -2, you kill 2 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 6 or less. So you basically just Gravity Blade your opponent. Against Shanks, dude, like, what do you do? What does Shanks do to that? Like, you just die, right? Like, if, I mean, unless you see a Crone Oil, but the thing is, you never want to play out the Crone Oil because, unless you know that that card's an option, but then you're having to play this out, that's taking up a space on your board, it's using one of your Dawn, right? Like, I don't know, man. Your opponent's having to play out at 2k, and you're pressuring them a lot. I think it's a little bit better than people give it credit for, but especially not so much Shanks. I think Katakuri's going to be amazing in stuff like Newgate, right? Who's trying to counter big swings. You just swing a bunch of, like, wide swings. It's going to be great into Newgate, right? It's going to be great into Rocks because you're just ramping super fast, swinging a bunch of bodies, restanding all of them so they can't swing into them, you know, with stuff like their Shiki. It's going to be really good into, maybe not as good into Kaido, but you can cheat out your 8-cost Katas like a whole turn earlier thanks to that 2-drop Katakuri. So that's kind of funny. So it'll be pretty fun into Kaido, I think. It'll be like a boxing match. Black Luffy, you might have trouble with because it's kind of fast, but I think it's playable. And then I think you're also decent into Linlin, ironically. So it doesn't have terrible matchups in my opinion. But again, this is just speculative, right? I'm just going to keep my eye on them and watch them, but I think it has potential because it's already really good right now with what it is favored into. And what it's favored into are some of the decks I think will be top from our old sets moving forward, as well as the style of deck that a lot of these new ones will be. So this is one I'm definitely keeping an eye on. I'm already playing it right now, loving the style, loving the options, and there's a lot of tech. And I think this leader is also just fun because it rewards you for being not bad at the game, right? Like this -1, look at the top card of the deck. Everybody's like, oh, cool, you get a free 1k on your leader per turn. Really, it's more about knowing your opponent's entire hand, right? Granted, against Rocks, this won't work, but knowing your opponent's entire hand is really, really crucial in these kinds of control matchups, which is why I think it has such decent win rates. It's because when your opponents are getting pressured down by your big bodies early, you know the most optimal swing route by the end of the game because you know what their hand is. So you've mapped the entire thing because you knew all of their draws, right? Because all their searches, they have to show you. And then you know all their draws. So other than like maybe 1 or 2 cards, you'll know your opponent's entire hand, and you can very, very easily, I think, find the most efficient lethal route where sometimes you might not even have been able to. So I think it's just really interesting. I think it would be a good one to keep an eye on. If you like purple, if you like Stompy, and if you don't want to play Kaido, this one I think is a really good one. But another one that I want to take a look at is potentially Black-Yellow Koala. I've been seeing a lot of success with this deck recently in 16, and I imagine in 16.5 it's also decent. Just because its leader effect is so... it's not very known, so not a lot of people know exactly what you're trying to do with this deck. And its leader effect is very relevant into a lot of stuff, right? So green Mihawk is going to be, you know, playing out their new 6-drop Mihawks, which makes them take a life. You know, all the new Shanks decks are trying to play big boys. Rocks is trying to play big boys, so you could just take a free life. It might be pretty good to consider, but also the reason why I said Koala is because if you look at all of the Black Luffy stuff coming out, so if we go back over here, Black Luffy is getting a whole bunch of cards that are like, oh yeah, you know, this leader gets, I mean, this one you have to be Elbaf. Do they all have to be Elbaf to get the cost? I think Loki just does it, right? Not that one. Because for those of you who don't know, Koala's gimmick, where'd she go? Qual's gimmick is that you have to have 2 characters at the cost of 8 or more. Where is the Luffy stuff? I know this guy's one of them. This one's only on your opponent's turn. Maybe they are all just locked too if you're Elbaf, because I know this guy does it. Okay, no, so you can play the Brogies. And I'm guessing Dory. Where's Dory? They revealed Dory, did they not? Oh, here he is. Yeah, Dory and Brogy both get plus 12 costs. So these are 17 costs. So they activate your leader. And you can play them out off of your, what's it called? Off of your Monkey D. Dragons. And then the on-plays unfortunately don't work. But, you know, there's a lot of new, like, lower cost, like 8 costs. So you don't have to play some of those bad cards anymore that you used to. And then you could potentially run even, like, some of these 2-drops. Just because they get value off of those. So it's not amazing, but it's something you could do that would, I think, be really funny and would catch people off guard. But yeah, the leader effect on this one is just super generic and versatile, so it could be something to potentially watch. But those are the leaders I was gonna keep an eye on. Were like Black Teach, Black Yellow Teach, Purple Katakuri, Black Yellow Koala, and then of course all the starter deck ones I think are good to watch out for, and then Strabo, right? So I think these are all leaders that you could potentially see as like viable, or potentially like viable, you know, like rogue tier in OP17. But yeah, for my thoughts on Rocks, I do intend on trying to play this competitively. I'm going to try and be locking in for OP17 and try to get more competitive at the game. Because I have a lot of card knowledge now, and I've, you know, been doing stuff for a while. So I think it's my time to try and, you know, make it big, so to speak. So I'm going to be building out Rocks and, you know, trying to win. But yeah, guys, that was pretty much all I had for today. Unfortunately, we're not going to get to the Robin stuff, but I'll save that for next week because I think it does deserve its own video so we can kind of brainstorm and deck build and all that jazz. So yeah, that's going to bring it to the end of our Taco Bell Tuesday. Thank you guys so much for swinging by, and sorry that I've been doing these so late, but work has been longer and longer. So yeah, I'm super glad that you guys decided to swing by today. If you like the stream, once again, drop a like down below. Let me know. While you're down there, you can hit subscribe if you're not already, because it helps me and the channel out a ton. And then hit that notification bell right next to it so that you can see any other time that we go live, or we put up posts or videos. I am still working on those videos, by the way, guys. It just, again, not a ton of time so far to be able to edit and put those out, so I might have to get my own editor later. Chris, thanks for dropping by, dude. It was good talking to you. Thanks for the heart. But yeah, then if, you know, if we're still live, you can drop a chat, and then afterwards, obviously, you can comment on this or any of the videos or posts, and I'll get back to you. You can hit the share button to share this with your friends and family so they can check it out, see what's going on. And yeah, that's going to do it for me for this Taco Bell Tuesday, guys. A lot of stuff developed, so I have a lot of testing and things like that to do in my own time. So I'm going to be looking into a lot of that. Hopefully I can get a video. I'm planning on proxying Rocks. And so, and I know a lot of other guys at the shop are also going to be proxying some of the new leaders. So I'm going to get some test games in, and, you know, potentially I could get some of those to you guys if you'd like to see that. So let me know actually in the comment section down below or on one of our videos if you guys would be interested in seeing some OP17 testing and gameplay, and I will be sure to get that out to y'all. But yeah, that's going to be it for today. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.